Well, tomorrow marks the second anniversary of the Marikana tragedy when police outside the Lonmin mine shot and killed 34 striking workers. As commemorations take place, Mbongeni Muthwa looks at how the tragedy has shifted labour relations and what lessons have been learnt.
An event which shook the country and the world. What started as a labour dispute culminated in an explosion of violence on August 16, 2012. 10 people, including 2 police officers, were brutally murdered in the days leading up to the tragic event. Now, stakeholders are pausing to commemorate the fateful events of 2 years ago.
This is the end of a week that we call at Lonmin the week that actually changed our lives. We have, together with our workers and together with the communities around the Lonmin mine, been holding commemoration services every morning since the beginning of the week. The last one we have just finished for the week. It's been a sad and a somber moment for us, but at the same time it's also a time for us to pick ourselves up and to move forward.
The question is, has Marikana been a lesson learned?
We have learned. We have also learned that we need to communicate and talk to each other. Even at the time when we had the longest strike in the history of mining, we kept our doors open, we kept talking to the workers, to the unions, and we kept the communication lines open, even when we differed.
Lessons which we have learned have actually made us more vigilant, has actually helped us to assist one another to ensure that we must not go back to that situation. But a lot of intimidation is still there, and our plea as workers, as we commemorate the second anniversary of those who have been killed, is for the workers to be united. Workers are fighting against capital, not against one another. The sadness is that not a single employer was injured in this process, and yet the demand of wages is directed to the employers.
But the NUM is boycotting the commemorative events organized by Lonmin. Instead, it's organizing its own commemorative event to be held on Sunday.
We still have to have a common understanding of loss of lives. There seems to be an impression that the life of those killed by the police is more important than the lives of those who have been killed before the police shooting as well after. To us, loss of life is loss of life. Nobody has a right to take any life in South Africa according to our constitution. And therefore, until we have one understanding, it might be very difficult to have a united commemoration. For this reason, we will be commemorating everybody who have lost his or her life since 2012 and until the recent strike. We have to pay homage to those who have lost their lives and make a promise of rebuilding this industry.
The Falam Commission is still conducting an inquiry into the events of Marikana 2 years ago. There, widows of the dead miners have testified how tough life is for them and their families following the loss of their breadwinners. Lonmin says it's doing its best to alleviate their plight.
We have set up a trust fund for the children's education. I think if you check with all those widows, they will tell you all their children are in schools, good schools at that. We have a fund that makes sure that the schools are paid for, that the uniforms are provided. We monitor their progress in schools. Some of them are in boarding schools, making sure that they don't have to suffer to get an education. We are making sure that there are also funds where they actually get paid out every month, subsistences from their own investments that have been put in banks. Those widows have a say as to how much they get out of that and what happens to their money. So as a company, we are continuing. On top of that, we are in the process of employing a member of the family from each and every one who has lost a loved one.
Attempts to get a comment from AMCU were unsuccessful. Mbongeni Muthwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.